Unfortunately, what happens a lot of times in society as a whole is when you feel very passionately about something, logic and reason and good old fashioned common sense go out the door, and you feed off of fears and passions and worries and concerns, and they start to engulf you and consume you and make you a part of stupid America. And I hear a lot of stupid crap said by a lot of stupid people. But one of the most idiotic things I hear come out of the mouths of stupid America is when I hear this overwhelming fear that the U.S. government wants to take your guns. Why in the hell would they want to take all of your guns? Furthermore, why in the hell would that be of any consequence or any concern to them whatsoever? And I'll get to that in a second. Now, I understand, and this video is pretty much directed squarely at the gun rights advocates and the gun nuts in some cases, as I call them. A lot of you believe that the Second Amendment, in some way, shape, or form, is to protect against government tyranny and infringement upon your rights as a citizen. Where, oh, where in the bluest of blue hells does it say anything closely pertaining to that whatsoever in the Second Amendment? It talks about, for the purposes of a well-regulated militia, the right to bear and keep arms shall not be infringed upon. So meaning you have the right to bear arms as part of a well-regulated militia, meaning like a state military service, something that would be part of the government. So meaning in theory you would have the right to bear arms to help impose martial law in theory and to protect government tyranny, if anything else. So this whole thing, this whole notion that the Second Amendment in some way, shape, or form is to prevent against government tyranny is stupidity of the highest order. And only in America would I hear this type of stupidity occur. And somehow people have this fear that guns being taken away from them and the government infringing upon their rights, so to speak, and the government restricting the type of guns they have, the amount of ammo they can have, what they could buy, how they could buy it, when they could buy it, where they could buy it, all equates to government tyranny. Now, look, I understand the fear of government, and especially the fear of this government. You have reasons to be fearful. But this, I assure you, is not one of them. Please, people, stop feeding in to the media-created bullshit. You've got the gun control advocates barking this and putting out this type of propaganda, ratcheting up the fear on one side and at the same point in time ratcheting up fear on the other side, so that way what they can push their own agenda and make money. And then on the flip side of that, you get the groups like the Fox Newses and the NRAs of the world that again feed on your fears, your emotions, your passions on this issue to sit there and play one side against the other in order to do what? Oh, that's right, make themselves more money. At the end of the day, people need to stop being so goddamn stupid and naive about this crap. It is about money. It is about juice and how much you can get and how you get it. And that's what the media does to you with this type of crap. This is how stupid and ridiculous this whole concept is of the U.S. government wanting your guns. The world's largest, most powerful nation, the world's largest, most powerful army. You might say, well, population, they're not the largest, but you get what I'm getting at. The largest, most powerful, well-funded army fears your AK-47, your M16, your deer rifle, your shotguns, your Tommy guns, whatever the fuck the case might be. Let me get this straight. A country with short-range and long-range ballistic missile capabilities. A country with the ability to send people into outer fucking space. The same country that has more nuclear weapons than I think every other country in the world combined, and has been the only country that has ever used those weapons in warfare in any way, shape, or form, fears your assault rifles? Do they really? Do you understand how ridiculous and stupid that sounds and how ridiculous and stupid that makes you for believing that hot garbage? And you're going to sit there and say, well, if they take away our guns, it's like Nazi Germany or it's like Stalinist Russia and skip and whoop-de-woo. Stop buying that media-created BS bullshit and garbage. Stop buying it from these people that have this certain agenda that they're trying to perpetuate and put out there. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. A country with more nukes than anybody else in the world combined, A country that devotes more money to defense spending than like the next 24, 25 biggest countries combined, gives a damn if a couple 100 million people have assault weapons? Why would they do that when they could just blow you to kingdom come and nuke your asses? When they could hit you with short-range and long-range ballistic missiles? And let's not even talk about all the other weapons capabilities and technologies they have, such as HARP and what have you. But they really fear your guns? Wake up, people. Stop being so goddamn naive and stupid. Because here's the fact. You have your guns, and tyranny is already here. So what good are the fucking guns to you? What do I mean by tyranny? Look at the crap that was allowed to happen with the false flag of fucking 9/11. The Patriot Act got crammed through, and all that did was help to suppress your First Amendment rights as a citizen. It also helped to suppress your Fourth Amendment rights as a citizen, leading to warrantless searches and illegal warrantless wiretapping, the National Security Agency, and all of this other crap that, again, is infringing upon your rights, all the while you have your handguns, your shotguns, and your AK-47s. The government, the U.S. government, has created a cycle of government reliance with things like Medicare, with things like Social Security and welfare and food stamps and government assistance and government jobs and everything else. They've created a cycle of government reliance. You want to talk about imposing tyranny, take away some of your other rights, make you reliant upon that government, and you've got tyranny, ladies and gentlemen, but it gets worse. Why would a government fear you and your guns when they can make you slaves by making you slaves to your debt? Look at the out-of-control, outrageous spending that is occurring in this country on a year-in, year-out basis. And no, newsflash, dumb dicks, it didn't just happen when the half-black guy took office in 2009. If you really, truly believe that, you are a moron of the highest order and need to stop watching Fox News and listening to Rush Limbaugh. This country has made us slaves to our debts forever. They've made us slaves to the big banks. They've made us slaves to our fiscal and monetary policies. How do you control the people? By putting them so far in debt, they have no choice but to go back to being reliant upon the government. And you can take away whatever rights you want to because they've got to dig themselves out of the debt. They've made us such slaves to our debts where China owns like 8 or 9% of our total national debt and other countries own our national debt. We eventually could become the United Socialist States of America. Or we could become the United States of Australia Republic or whatever the fuck the case might be. Stop being so stupid about this. The Patriot Act suppressed several of our constitutional rights and just flat out trampled on them, all in the name of fighting the terrorists. Even though, as everybody was being fearful and believing and buying into the bullshit that Islamic terrorists really wanted to destroy this nation, when by and large, more often than not, terrorist acts are committed, by people that look just like you and me. So here comes the Patriot Act pounded down your damn throat. Here comes the NSA and their overreach and their lack of control. Wiretapping, that's warrantless. Warrantless searches, trampling all over the Fourth Amendment. Come on, people, start waking up. Not only has they made us slaves to our debt, the government, but big corporations rule, not the people. So not only are we reliant upon the government, we're allowing big corporations with being able to get away with running the show. Look at the big money that's now allowed to be put into politics from corporations. That Citizens United decision is a disaster that we haven't even begun to feel the impact of. Look at our healthcare system. How is healthcare a privilege? That should be a basic fundamental right. But instead, we become slaves to a healthcare system, and in particular, the insurance companies that are able to play all sides against each other, all in the name of making profits. We are slaves to the pharmaceutical companies. Why does it take so damn long for new medicines and new treatments to be approved? Because of the bureaucratic bullshit of the FDA and the infrastructure that the pharmaceutical companies have put in place to be able to protect themselves and ensure maximum profits for themselves. We don't rule shit. We don't run shit. The big corporations do. Look at big oil. And look at our dependence on foreign oil, which has directly affected our foreign policy as a country since the 1970s. Why do you think we go to places like fucking Iraq and Libya? Why do you think you're hearing ratcheted up propaganda for years about wanting to go to Iran? Don't buy this lame-ass excuse. Don't buy that lame-ass excuse. It is all about oil. So many of the alleged, and I say alleged very strongly here, 9/11 hijackers didn't come from Iraq, didn't come from Afghanistan. A lot of them came from Saudi Arabia. But yet and still, we're in the bed of Saudi Arabia, and we are in love with the royal family there. Why? Because of oil. Why did we try to kick Iraq out of Kuwait in the early 90s? Not because it was the right thing to do, because we were protecting our foreign interests when it came to oil. So suppressing our constitutional rights, and you still have your guns. Creating a cycle of government reliance, and you still have your guns. Making us slaves to our debt and the debt that the government and big corporations create for us, and yet you still have your guns. Big corporations ruling, unlimited money in politics, the healthcare system, pharmaceutical companies, the price gouging and the speculation in the future commodities market that is artificially inflating the price of oil per barrel. And as a result, as a byproduct, gasoline prices through the roof at a rate that is 100 times above the rate of inflation. And also creating a cycle and dependence of foreign oil that makes us slaves to the industrial military complex. All the while, you still have your fucking guns. Are you getting the point? There are only two real options in every election. You have Republicans and you have Democrats. And let's be really realistic here. They take completely different paths to arrive at the same fucking result. They are serving other interests that are not yours. And the fact that we have a system that basically only presents you with two real options, again, to me, is a form of government tyranny. They will sit there in public and say this and say that and put up the good fight, put up the good front. But at the end of the day, they're glad handing a buddy backstage because they understand how it really works and they understand just how stupid America can be. Look at all the chemicals that the government and these big companies put in our food and our water supply. And yet you need your guns to protect yourselves from government tyranny? Look at the drone strikes, including the use of drones potentially on civilian targets, United States citizens at that. And you need your guns to protect against government tyranny? Wake up, ding-dong dumb dicks. Government tyranny is already here. And all the while, you've had your fucking guns. Stop buying and feeding into the media-created BS. Stop being so damn ridiculously stupid when it comes to this. Just logically think this out for a second. A country that has more than once used nuclear weapons in warfare is scared of you and your assault weapons. How fucking stupid does that sound? Also, how stupid does it sound for you to sit there and say that this is needed, that you need your guns to protect from government tyranny, when I have clearly given you several instances here, and this is not even all of them, but things like the Patriot Act, the increased cycle of government reliance, making us slaves to our debts, how big corporations rule, not the people. Only two real options in every election, looking at all the chemicals that are put into our food and into our water supply, the drone strikes on U.S. citizens. All of these things clearly indicate that, wake up. The U.S. doesn't have the freedom that you think it does. Tyranny is already here. And I got some news for you. It's been here for a long time. And guess what? You've had your guns all along. The government doesn't want your guns. Why? Because they don't care. They let you believe whatever you want. They're going to do whatever the hell they want anyways. I dare you to tell me any different. Because you can't. Because you know I'm actually thinking from a logical, rational, reasonable point of view here. It's time for stupid America to wake up and understand that the wool is being pulled over their eyes. Period.